Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. We're happy to be here with Darcy Richardson, a candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, challenged Obama in New Hampshire. His website is darcy2012.com, and the campaign is billed as anti-war, anti-Wall Street, and pro-Occupy. Now, we were talking about the Bain Capital stuff and Gingrich's movies. We've gone through all the details, but what's your take?
Oh, okay. The point I wanted to make was, the pump and dump takeover financiers at Bain Capital, according to that same Washington Post analysis in late November, they've actually contributed twice as much money to President Obama as they have to Mitt Romney in this election cycle. So that's an amazing fact that people need to look at. But beyond that, one other thing I wanted to mention, and I know you've been doing a lot of programs talking about, Ron Paul's candidacy on the Republican ticket, and I do find it kind of disturbing. I'm in agreement with you. I kind of agree with Megan Carpentier, who spoke or did an article last week in The Guardian about Ron Paul's useful idiots on the left. A lot of progressives, and Dr. Tarpley, you're keenly aware of this, are really enthralled by Dr. Paul because of his positions, his anti-war position, and his just general non-interventionist foreign policy. In New Hampshire this past Tuesday, Ron Paul actually received 2,300 write-in votes. He finished second, ahead of all the other Democrats on the ballot challenging Obama on the Democratic side. But I'm encountering this across the country. Progressive Democrats, lifelong Democrats, those who generally consider themselves liberal or progressive, are flocking to his candidacy, and I find that very disturbing, given his scary austerity agenda. I think he's done an outstanding job. This is one thing that
you can really do, and I hope you will. The $1 trillion of cuts. That's just savage. That's barbaric. Yes. He wants to cut food stamps by 63%, cut Medicaid by 35%, cut S-chip by 44%, right, this children's health insurance. He wants to cut WIC by 33%. LIHEAP, if you go anywhere where it's cold, there's going to be no more fuel aid. That goes to zero. Head Start is unconstitutional. Unemployment benefits are soon to go. And how can you vote for that? It's just impossible.
Exactly. If you're anyone who believes in defending working people in this country, I don't see how you can possibly embrace Ron Paul. Yeah, he's
you can't.
Good
and the other issue is that the main stuff is what's going on in Wisconsin, as you pointed out, right? The struggle to maintain unions, and he's on the wrong side of all that with his son.
Exactly. And speaking of the Wisconsin thing, the whole recall effort there. I understand as of yesterday they have over 1.5 million signatures now, so that we are going to have a recall election there, which was not just against Scott Walker, but also Rebecca, what's her last? I can't remember her. The lieutenant governor. She's also being recalled as well as 4 state senators. Rebecca Kleefisch, that was her name. She's also up for a recall. So. We're desperately trying to get on the ballot there, and would really like to run there, and hopefully have some organized labor support in doing so.
Good, more power to you. Now, you didn't get a whole lot of votes in New Hampshire, right? How many did you get?
We saw 266, which isn't bad considering I never stepped foot in the state. After we filed and we saw 12 other candidates come in after we filed. We decided the ballot was so cluttered that we'll make our first stand in Missouri on February 7th. So that's what we're focusing on. It was very difficult to try to compete with satirical candidates like Vermin Supreme. The local media just was. They gave him all kinds of coverage, and it's a joke candidacy. Anyone discussing the real issues or substantive issues was totally ignored, and we expected that. So. We're looking at Missouri, where there'll be 4 of us on the ballot, and beyond that, Oklahoma, Louisiana, et cetera. But
And I think what I would say to people is, if you want to have a protest vote that gives you some bang for the buck, you are worth a very serious examination at Darcy2012.com.
Thank you, Dr. Tarpley. But I just wanted to also mention, while I'm focusing on the economic issues, I do also, favor an immediate end to the war in Afghanistan. I'm very, very sympathetic to the whole pro-Occupy movement, and you have to be very careful in dealing with the Occupy movement because they really don't want to be co-opted by any, party or political candidate. So I've been I've dealt with them very gingerly, but I am speaking their language. The whole issue of, income inequality in this country, I'm making that a central focus of my campaign. And
well, let me just, the point of view we have here is pretty much this, that they better get a detailed program and fast, because if they don't, and you know this in politics, if you don't characterize yourself and present yourself, somebody else will do that for you, and that's what's happened to them. So they've also got to kick out a whole bunch of foundation operatives that have gotten in there that are simply, leading them astray. So I don't know, co-optation.
Good point.
It's time to get active politically, because the blue-collar worker looks at them and says, what do you want to do for me? I don't see anything.
Right. Good point. Excellent point. Beyond that, on the economic issues, we're talking about a new Works Progress administration, similar to the massive jobs program that Franklin D. Roosevelt had during the Great Depression. We have 25 to 30 million people in this country without work. We desperately have to do something. I also favor a mandatory moratorium on home foreclosures. That's for primary residences.
Great.
We've had 3 to 4 million people in this country who've been foreclosed upon, lost their homes, including my honorary chairwoman. I just wanted to mention this real quick. A 76-year-old woman who now lives in Bellingham, Washington. She and her husband had owned their home for 19 years, and because of a health issue, they were foreclosed upon. So she was forced to move in with one of her daughters. But I've seen this all around me. In my neighborhood here in Jacksonville, Florida, I've had 3 people foreclosed upon, just within a block of where I live. And this is we're in a Great Depression, and
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to call it that.
Right, and I would urge you on the mandatory freeze. I would call it a freeze. A lot of people don't know what moratorium means. So if you say stop foreclosures, they get it better. Take a look at the Fraser-Lemke Act, because that was the New Deal version, which basically is if you could get any judge at any level to approve a payment plan, you could stay in your home. But I think this is all very much to the good. And I would urge people to think, why vote for Ron Paul just to get an anti-war, anti-dictatorship position when you get that entire $1 trillion of cuts? And, of course, the place to find those is his Restore America plan. It's the first time that I know of that he's made a detailed statement, and it's chilling. It's shocking when you look at it.
It is. But I just wanted to mention that you've been doing an outstanding job in trying to publicize some of this. I've listened to a couple of the programs that you were on recently, and I think as more and more individuals who consider themselves progressives hear what you're saying and take a look at Ron Paul's austerity measures, I think it's going to give them pause and maybe return them to their senses. You've been doing an outstanding job.
So that's excellent. So where are you headed? I mean, you're going to travel?
Yeah, we have 2 trips planned for Missouri here in the next 3 weeks. That's what we're going to focus on first, and then make a decision on what we're going to do in Oklahoma. I'll probably make several stops in Louisiana. I mean, I can drive to Louisiana. That's pretty easy. And I do have a young African-American coordinator in Louisiana, a guy who has enthusiastically supported Barack Obama in 2008, but he feels that that the president's betrayed, working class and poor Americans.
Okay, I'm afraid the music tells us that we're coming up to the end of the program. And again, that's Darcy Richardson running for president on the Democratic ballot. And the website is Darcy2012. I hope they can contact you through the website. Is there an email or something, I hope?
Yes, there is.
I'm sure you can volunteer and contribute. Thank you very much, Darcy. We'll see you next week on World Crisis Radio.